What's going on, guys? This is Mikeinoid, and today we'll be taking a look at the QRD Stellar T5 wireless joypad for the Nintendo Switch and Switch OLED. QRD was nice to send this controller over to me to review. They actually let me choose between this controller and their T3 controller, both being priced at about $60. I went ahead and chose the T5 controller solely because of the design. I really like the transparent shell of the Stellar T5. So this is pretty much a controller that is meant to be better Joy-Cons for your Switch. It's designed to be more comfortable to hold while playing in handheld mode, with extra features like RGB lighting, turbo and macro button mapping, and a customizable D-pad. Opening this up, you get the two joypads with the bridge, a USB-C cable, a circle D-pad, and the instructions. The front of the controller has a transparent shell so you can kind of see the inside of it, and then the back has some rubber grip to make the controller easier to hold. This controller pretty much has everything official Joy-Cons have besides NFC communication. It's got all the same controls. You have the home button and capture button, your triggers and shoulder buttons, face buttons, joysticks, but you also have turbo buttons on each side, and then on the back you have rumble buttons, setting buttons, and ML and MR triggers that let you map any of the buttons on the controller. You also have SL, SR, and the sync buttons on both controllers, so you can use them on the side. The D-pad can be swapped out simply by pulling out the current D-pad and placing in the new one. Out of the box, the RGB lighting is set to red, but you can change the colors to another solid color, have them shift, or have all colors at the same time. And then the instructions tell you how to map buttons to extra triggers or for turbo. So I've had the Stellar T5 controller for over a month now, and I have to say, it's a really good controller. I say this controller is at its best when it's connected to the Switch and you're playing in handheld mode. This controller has made it impossible for me to go back to using Joy-Cons because of how comfortable it makes the system in my hands. I'm a huge fan of the back gripping. Ain't no way this is going to be slipping out of your hands, all right? This thing is gripped. I also like how the joysticks are taller and the face buttons are bigger than the stubby little joysticks and buttons on Joy-Cons. Using the controller wirelessly is good too. It feels like a traditional controller once you connect it to the bridge. I feel like carrying this would be a lot better than having both Joy-Cons and a Pro controller. The Stellar T5 is best of both worlds in my opinion. I will say, for me, whenever I'm gripping the controller with more force than usual, I tend to accidentally hit the extra triggers on the back with my middle fingers. So I don't currently have anything mapped to it, which is fine since I don't really use them anyways personally. I also don't use turbo either, but it's still cool that this controller offers those options though. Same thing with the swappable D-pad. I like having the option to use a traditional D-pad or the circle one depending on which game I'm currently playing, but for the most part I just kind of stick with the traditional D-pad. It's really good. I also appreciate the fact that these controllers have rumble and you can set them on different levels of intensity or turn them off entirely. Just like Joy-Cons, you are able to use them detached, so you don't need the bridge. You can also use each controller separately, so you can use one to play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. You can also use it on its side if you really need to. Your hand would just be pressing in on the triggers, so that might be a little distracting. You can also use the Stellar T5 on your PC as a regular Bluetooth controller, which is nice. Like I said before, I've been using this controller for over a month as my main Switch controller, and it still looks good. There's none of my grubby fingerprints on the controller, so it looks like it just came straight out of the box. Battery life is pretty good as well. I can play with these for a couple hours each day out of the week until I need to attach these to the Switch to charge. I also keep the joystick ring lights on as well, so you could probably get even better battery life if you choose to leave those off. But I think the controller looks really good when it has some sort of lighting to it. I personally keep it on red. Red's my favorite color. All right, it just looks good. Huge thanks to QRD for sending me this amazing controller. I highly recommend this controller for anyone who is tired of using Joy-Cons and wants a good controller with a bunch of features, including RGB lighting. If you want to purchase the Stellar T5 controller, the link will be in the description. This is a great purchase. It's cheaper than Joy-Cons. All right, this is it right here. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know if you have any questions about the QRD Stellar T5 controller down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Now it's time to get back to some Captain Toad, baby.
Question for you, rapid. Do you honestly just like it? I get the feeling that there's not that case. Poker face. Everyone has the right to go and see the other side. So break down the barricade.